Hello everyone, today's video is about how I met a swindler and how that encounter let me know God has always been my provider, my protector, and my defense. Always. Let's talk about it. Hello everyone, it's your girl Adora. I hope you all have been finding different ways to love and adore yourself. In today's video, we're going to be talking about how I met a real life swindler. This was before Netflix thought about maybe they thought about it before. I was 24 when this happened. This is before Netflix thought about having that show Swindler on their platform. I encountered a real life swindler in Sydney and we're going to talk about it. And if you know the person, you know the person. And I do not care, okay? Because people like this in the community need to be uprooted. But today really is about the story time and how this story time really gives glory to God. This story is amazing to me because I went through neglect growing up, and to know that God has always been my protector, even though I did not have a proper protector since birth throughout my life. Even though most of the time I thought I was the one doing everything in my mind, everything in my power. But he was like, nah, I got you. But I never saw him. I never even had a proper real relationship, real intentional relationship with God. And the story here is all God. Before we get into the story, please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you have such a story like this, please share it with us. But these are things that let me know, is a conviction for me that God exists. God has loved me. This story came to me when I was led to read the book of Esther. This book is one of the only few books in the Bible that doesn't refer to God anytime. If you know more about the Bible, please correct me down below. This book showed how God had his purpose, and even in the midst of chaos, continue putting Esther in the right position for his purpose. I had just turned 24 and I went to a boy party. Say hi to everybody that I knew. I met somebody that I've known from Adelaide. We'll call him D, and then his cousin's name, and this is his cousin's true name. I realized later on that he has a lot of different names because he's a fraudster. And then I'm just seeing his cousin John look dead in my eyes, like he just wants to talk to me. I say bye to both of them and I leave and I go inside. So as I go inside, I see his eyes is still on me, and I see some female next to him, and I'm thinking maybe, normal thing. That's a girl that he's talking to or something like that. He was watching. When somebody's watching you and you're watching them, that that type of interaction. That was the only reason why I noticed this girl, and I want to make that very clear. He was not somebody that I really cared for, because when I meet somebody, even no matter how good looking you are, I'm not attracted to you because I'm a mind type of person. I need to get to know you, need to know, get your character. And I used to think that was weird, but that actually is one of my superpowers, and I'll let you know why later on. Also, I will explain to you why it's important for your standards to be based on character and not physical things. So this story continues. I go outside, he comes outside, we're chatting, we talk about life a little bit, and he lets me know what he's doing in the community. After exchanging details, we started to chat here and there, and he invited me to something that he does, like a meeting or something. I believe that I was the one who cancelled, or he cancelled on me. I don't know which one it was, but I think I was the one who cancelled. At that time I was talking to somebody else anyways. After that, he invites me to go on a date with him. Now, before we go on this date, he tells me certain things. He apparently lost contact with his family when he was young due to the war. So he hasn't been around his true family in a long time. And then later on, that he was adopted by somebody in Canada. I think that's what he said. I don't remember the story. And then he got to Australia due to a learning program or something of that sort. So a degree or something that he was doing. I believe that's what he said. Don't quote me. One thing I want to let you know is when somebody is quick to tell you certain things, keep a mental note, because sometimes they're telling you as a manipulative ploy to make sure that when they hit a roadblock with you, they can use that as an excuse. And the best part is you don't have to question why there's a roadblock, because they've already made the excuse before the event happened. You get what I'm saying? But he did not know that he made the the one that God protects in heaven, the one that God tells me, no, that's not true. That's not true. He invited me to a dinner or whatever, a nice place, whatever, and then he cancelled on me. This one he cancelled on me. The first one I cancelled. This one he cancelled on me. It's like, oh, my cousin's sick. I was like, okay, D's sick, so it's okay. I know D. I hope he's well. The next day he messaged me just letting me know, oh, you know, I do actually admire you. All of this thing to flatter me, and if you know me, I couldn't care less about your flatter because your action is everything to me, just like I don't care about your face. I mean, don't get me wrong, your face would be nice once I know that your character is A1, and your flatter will be nice once I know your character is A1, but it's all in time. Meanwhile, I am talking to somebody else, so to me it's just whatever. So he's telling me about how he doesn't really open up to people, he really doesn't, blah blah blah, making all this excuse as to why he's not good in relationships and stuff like that. And I'm just wondering, like, man, I just met you, like, it's really not that deep. He then asked me to go on a date with him. I said to him, hey, by the way, I don't want to waste your time, but I don't want to go on this date with you because I'm now seeing somebody. The situation between me and that person didn't last long. Then the brand new year started, and then he popped in my DMs. I said something along the lines of, I don't really get your flow. I don't know if you want something professional, if you want something else. I wasn't getting his interaction with me. All of it was a lot of flattery, and I was just like, where's this flattery going? Mr. Man decided he was going to tell me that he did actually fancy me and that he wanted to take me on a date. And he was like, what are you doing on this day? I'm like, oh, okay, what time? He's like, I'll give you the details soon. I have this standard that if you're going to take me out on a date here, is either you understand that you're going to come correct or don't come at all. To me, I value my time and I value people's time. If I say I need your time at this time, that same day or the next day, I will let you know what the schedule is. And I expect the same thing back. There's something wrong with that. So when it comes to dating or dates, if you ask me what my schedule is 3-4 days, and you let me know you're going to let me know the details later, but you haven't let me know the details 2 days before, I'm not going on that date with you. At least one day, even one day, I need to know you a little bit more. Day came for the date. I waited. At 12 p.m, I sent him like a nice note. I was like, look, thank you so much for wanting to take me out. However, I've decided to do something else. I didn't quite hear from you, and I didn't want there to be a misunderstanding later on. That's why I'm letting you know. I hope you have a great day. Respectful, but yet I'm letting you know that don't expect me at 7 p.m. because I don't know the location. Where am I meant to go at 7 p.m? This man opens my message. He's like, what? I'm not a last minute person. You're the one last time who decided to go on a date with somebody else. Something about along those lines. Something about, oh, you're the one who cancelled on me before. I've just been busy. I'm like, yeah, I never argued about your schedule. I'm just letting you know that I have things to do, and I prefer being told in advance the details. There shouldn't be anything wrong with that, should there? He's like, you know what, I'm sorry, you're right, I should have told you earlier. I'm like, it's okay, we can do another time, but just not today. Guys, did I have anything to do? No. Start taking your sleeping schedule more important than somebody that cannot value your time. But anyways, red flag number 1, obviously he has ego issue, but at that age I really didn't know much about ego, narcissism, high narcissistic traits. Went on a date, whatever. For that date, we went to his, and whatever happened, you get me. I thought that was gonna be my like one night stand or whatever, because at that moment I had known him for like 8 months. He wasn't like a new person to me. There was no excuse for that. I shouldn't have done that, but hey, we are not lying on this channel here. We have changed our ways and we know better. But anyways, so and then that's when we started to talk, right? After that whole thing, like the first time, he said something that was very interesting. Oh, I didn't really put in enough energy, and I was so confused. Why do you care about our first time like so deep? Put a pin on that, because you will get to know that is his magic, or how he seduces women is his sex. But because I'm more of a mental person, I didn't really fall in love like he expected me to do. The weeks progressed, we exchanged numbers, we started talking on a daily basis. He claimed that he had a business, a masseuse business, where he had some women working for him and providing those services to high clientele. Now, this guy lived in Barangaroo, and if you know anything about Sydney, living close to the Harbour Bridge or living in the city, it's expensive. When I went to his house, he was living in the space that was expensive too, which didn't get me going, because again, I don't care. Keep in mind that all of these things that he's saying is part of his scam. So the house that he lives in is part of his scam. Helping the community, part of his scam. He adds to the persona that he helps kids. And yes, when I did come to his house, I did notice there were a fair amount of kids in his house, which contributes to his persona of, I'm a helper, such a good man, a good character. There's something that happened that I was like, wait, this is a bit weird. We talk one day and he tells me, oh, I've had such a horrible day. One of the mother of the person that I'm taking care of in my home decided to put a police report saying that I touched her child. She's onto drugs, so I understand. I was like, wait, what? I said to him, okay, that's a bit tough, but you care about helping kids so much. Why don't you have a program where the government assists you with that and it's actually legitimate? And he's like, oh yeah, that's a good idea, but right now these kids, they really depend on me. And the truth is, those kids really did depend on him because they believe a facade of who he is. Put a pin on that as well. Let's talk about the red flag that I didn't notice, that I should have noticed. The pandemic started, we talk here and there, but our conversation is not often. He texts me here and there, but we're not in a relationship, so it's not that deep. So as we're talking, like, oh, I admire you. Who do you admire? Like, who do you idolize? And I said to him, I don't idolize anybody. Now tell me why this would be a red flag for any. Is what happens later on that would let you know that this was a massive red flag, that this man's ego was so fragile. So he says to me, you don't admire anybody, like any star? He's like, well, I don't admire you. He rephrased his what he said again. I don't admire you. It's like as if I cared. Again, you're giving me flattery, but you don't even know I'm not the girl that cares about flattery. You're just talking. Like, so you don't admire anybody? Like even Oprah? I admire Oprah. I said to him that, look, I'm inspired. I can be inspired by somebody's actions, but I definitely am not. I don't idolize anybody. This is even before I knew that idealization is actually a sin in the Bible. But I've never been somebody that has looked at somebody and what they've achieved and I'm like, whoa, I'm enamored by this person, or I desire everything that they do. No, I can be inspired by a deed of yours, but I'm not going to admire you because I don't know what you do behind the covers. I don't live with you. I don't know what inspired you to do those things. I would be silly to think that most of these things that we see in front of us are not performative. That's what I said. This man get angry and he started saying something about, maybe you should read properly, something like that. I was just like, look, it's really not that serious. We didn't talk for a bit, and then I told my friend what happened. I was like, man, I can't deal with this, I'm being serious. And then he was like, calm down, Adora, he's a good man. So my friend is a man, so he's trying to let me know about male ego, and I'm like, guy, I don't care about male ego. So I decided to listen to my friend and just say, oh, it's just men being men, and the fact that he's not used to saying things, or a woman just being a certain way, because it's not that tough. So I called him, we have a kickle, and that was it. We started going out on dates. It was calm. I wanted to know the real person, so we started spending a lot more time together. Second red flag was every time we would get closer, he would retract, and I was like, okay, well, that's a bit weird. This is when the red flag starts to hit a little bit more. His birthday was coming along and he was like, oh, I want you to invite your friends. I want to get your friends to get to know me, blah, blah, blah. Then like 3 days before, he's like, oh, I don't want your friend to come anymore because I don't want them to see me in a certain light. And I was like, what do you mean by that? He's like, oh, I don't want them to see me doing drugs. I'm like, what do you mean by that? He's like, oh, I'm going to be doing some hardcore drugs. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, not weed, like some hardcore drugs. I'm like, I've never even seen this man do drugs at that time. He's like, I only do this once a year because it's my birthday. I was like, oh, okay. Isn't the kids going to be there? Why would you want the kids to be there when you're doing drugs? He's like, they'll be upstairs. No, they'll be downstairs. We'll be doing it upstairs. So it's just, I don't want your friends to see me like that. Again, when somebody's trying to control the perception of how people see them, careful, yeah? What's so wrong with you doing what you do outside in front of people? Or maybe not doing it that day and just, yeah, but he was so concerned about that. I sent my friend the screenshot just to kind of like give him reason why he cannot come anymore. So I sent it to him. And then we had a conversation on the phone. He was like, that's cool, all good. I won't come. If he wants to have fun, let him have fun. You have fun. I'm like, okay. Then I had a conversation with John on the phone, and I was like, oh yeah, I told X, Y, and Z that he can come. And I told him the reason why he can come. He's like, what? So wait, you told your friend that they can't come because I don't want them to see me high? I'm like, yeah, that's what you said to me. This man, like, he expected me to sugarcoat it. Why would I sugarcoat the truth for my own good friend? And I was like, my friend is also a human being. He's probably done stuff like this when he was your age. Now, this is when I didn't have certain boundaries when it came to dating men that would do any form of drugs, even weed. We can't do that with weed. Either the weed or the experience with me, that's on you. That's a gateway drug, and I'm not playing with that. And anyone can fight with their mother about that. So he had a little bit of a cackle and was a bit annoyed by that. And I was like, I'm sorry that you didn't want me to say the truth to my friend. So it was his birthday finally, and I came, and basically the spotlight was on me being his girl. This is my girl. She's amazing. She does so much. Like, he was really like raving about me. And I was like, wait, what's going on? Like, is it my birthday or your birthday? And these friends that he had were level-headed friends that were just normal, chilled friends, you know, just friends that probably came from like the good side of Sydney. And then there was another set of friends that were coming into the building, but they will go upstairs into his room. I'd never been to a party like that, so I didn't really think much about it. Then there was something that happened next. A girl walks in, and the moment she walks in, my energy tells me something is off with this girl. She walks in, yeah, and he's like holding me tight. And then I leave, and then she comes in, and then she's like holding him on his hand, like a little bit too. Me, I'm the type of girl, I have a poker face, like, especially when it comes to man. Even at that age, you're not gonna get under my skin in public. I have poker face. I do not address matters in public. So when I came out, I didn't even say anything. He just walked with me, just left the girl, literally took her hand off and left and went with me. He's like, hey, what do you want to eat? Do you want me to get you something to eat? I'm like, nah, I'm good. And I left him. I saw some of the kids that he's always around in the party, which kind of like shocked me. Why would kids be in such a party where it's like older people and stuff like that and there's drugs upstairs? Red flag number 3. These are kids that their parents don't know what you do, but these kids idolize you. Now keep in mind, one, he cared about the fact that I didn't idolize Oprah, or I don't have that tendency to idolize anybody. So it made sense now, seeing these kids idolize him for doing absolutely nothing than just opening his doors to them, to see how that fed into his ego. All right, and hence why he was upset. He was upset that I probably wouldn't be able to do that with him. And as everybody starts to go now, I noticed this girl comes up to me. I was sitting in the living room. She comes up to me. She was like, where's Jean? I'm like, I don't know. Maybe he is in the bathroom. She was like, is there another bathroom I can go to? I was like, oh, there's a bathroom on the side. I think he's upstairs. She goes onto the side. Now, something about me felt very uneasy about this female. Before I knew it, something said to me, go upstairs. I go upstairs now, and they were kissing. I'm not his girlfriend at this time, so I'm like, what? I'm like, Johnny, really? Me? Why would you even do this? A bit weird. Like, you could just be with this girl, like, instead of acting weird. His exact words were, so? Why the girl was next to him? Because he has to put on that macho man behavior. So I go downstairs, I'm taking my stuff, and I'm about to leave. He comes out of something to get me, to talk to me. The girl leaves. And I'm visibly upset because it's like, wait, what? You've been telling me how long that getting into a relationship is difficult for you because you're not used to getting close to somebody, blah, blah, blah. But now I'm seeing you kissing another girl. And there's the fact that you actually brought this girl into your party knowing that I was going to be there, and you telling everybody in this party that I'm your girl. What? So after that, he's like, can I talk to you upstairs? So he takes me upstairs, everybody leaves. And then he's like, I'm so sorry that I did that. I know how good things are between both of us, and I'm just self-sabotaging. I'm so sorry. He's like, this is what I do when people get close to me, but I want this with you. I said to him, I don't really know what's going to happen from this, but this year just puts I have never seen that before. That's my first time really even seeing a guy even try me like that. I said, I knew something was off the moment that girl held your hands. He's like, oh, so you noticed that? I'm like, I'm a woman, I notice everything. He's like, but then why did you act like you didn't see it then? It almost felt like he wanted me to prove that I cared for him in that moment. So he's like, well, next time you should be able to fight for your man then. I said to him, I'm like, no, that would never be me. He's like, he was not joking, guys. His ego is so fragile, he needed those confirmation. Again, I'm 24, I don't really know these things. Nobody really taught me the men game. I didn't have that father-daughter conversation where a man tells me the games. I'm learning through life. God taught me most things that I know right now through life, because most of my life I was neglected. I didn't have specific conversation, even specific interactions. So I didn't really know much about life. We decided to get into a relationship after that. Once we got into a relationship, this man started to want to take control over my hair business, going back to Instagram, doing Instagram videos. He just wanted to take over. And there's nothing wrong with a man assisting you, but there's something wrong with your relationship being about money rather than real connection. And I started to feel a certain type of way. I would sprinkle signs of a wife, but I'm not fully going to be a wife. And then what I noticed that the date started to go down. The intentionality when it came to the romance and everything like that, how it was in the beginning, started to go down. We're not really spending quality time. It's always all about what we're doing here, and that's not a relationship. And sometimes I will ask him, is this for business? Like, if this is between us, because if you tell me I'm out the door, we can still do business. And then it was the pandemic or whatever. I still had my job during the pandemic. So then I said to him, hey, let's open a joint account, right? You say you want to do business with me. Let me see what you're working with. I didn't say it like that. Let's just save together and let's see how that goes. I put the first like $1,000 in there, and then he put his own money, like $400 or something like that. So we're saving there for like things that I had said that I wanted to do and he said he wanted to do. I'm not Barbara the Builder, so we don't do that anymore, period, until we're married. I was trying to test this man with that joint account. I want you guys to know that I did not see the masseuse or the massage space that he owned in the city, but yet I have been to the city a few times. But he's seen what I do. He's seen that I can actually make money. Anyways, my birthday is approaching, and then he's like, oh, I want to show you this birthday. You do so much for so many people. It's your 25th birthday. I want people to be excited. I want you to celebrate with your people, your friends, your family. So he tells me, hey, I want to bring your brothers here. Now he's trying to give a good impressions with my brother. He's like, oh, I don't have that money. I spent so much on your birthday. Can I take a little bit from the joint account? I'm like, that's fine as long as we put it back in, right? When he takes a little bit out, I go into the joint account. This is to show you I don't trust this man. That there was for me to know who he is and his true intention, but he didn't know that. I had this instinct to test him. I don't know why. I even called St. George. I'm like, where did that money go? They just tell me, oh, they went to this other account that we cannot verify because it's his account. I'm like, okay, it's fine. It's just for my brothers. So I don't look at the account again. I probably should have. The day before my birthday, he calls me. He's like, oh my God, I'm so upset. I'm so this, I'm so that. I'm like, wait, what happened? And then he's sending me screenshots. Again, this man was notorious for sending me screenshots, but now I know that he would orchestrate the screenshot. So he was like, oh, the lady that was meant to do the balloon, the decoration, she canceled on me. She's asking for more money. He shows me a screenshot where she's asking for more money. Now with hindsight, I know that was fake. He asked me, he's like, is it okay if I could take some more money from the account? I'm like, yeah, for sure. I'm like, as long as we put the money back in. This man is here spending the money that I put in there. This time I don't go to check. I just left it. Because when I did it the first time, when I called St. George, I genuinely felt bad that I did not trust him. I go in, everybody surprises me like as if I did not know that they were going to be there. Thank you guys. We have a blast. Everybody's like, oh my God, this is a good man. He's good. Da, 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 da. Or whatever they were saying. I was like, oh yeah, fair enough. Sure. Yeah, he's cool. After everybody goes, like I said, I have a hip injury. So this is how God is good. I truly believe God exacerbated my injury to stop me from making money so that this man will not take more out of me. Literally, I truly believe that's the case, because prior to this, yes, I had my injury here and there because I was doing my normal job, and then afterwards I was doing people's hair and I was standing up for a prolonged amount of time. But why is it that after my 25th birthday I was in the hospital? And I don't mean that lightly. Now, this is where everything goes down below. But I remember that before we got into a relationship, I caught this guy kissing some other girl during the time we were just talking. My brothers are now upstairs. They occupied his space. He decided that it's best for us to save money by allowing them to stay in his spot. And he's in the couch being nice, right? I was sleeping on the bed downstairs. And I wake up and this man's not on the bed. And I'm like, why isn't this man not on the bed? Go next to me like, why aren't you sleeping? This is, keep a pin on that. The fact that this man left the bed. He left the bed for 2 reasons. One is the fact that he really don't like women. We'll get into that later. 2, he was talking to another woman, even though he didn't like women. And I wake up, I'm like, hey, he's on the other side of the couch, but the couch is kind of connected. And I tried to stand up to lean and say, hey, why you keep moving away from me? And I see that he is talking to another woman. And I said to him, you're not trying to move forward. You told me that this would never happen again, and now I'm seeing you texting another woman. He's like, what do you mean? Like, I'm not texting another woman. This is a clientele where you don't want to make money. I'm like, no. I feel that that's another woman you're playing with. He's like, what? I literally take my stuff with my hip hurting me so bad. At this time, the tablets that I took before I went to that part, my birthday, had worn off completely. So I was in so much pain. I called the Uber. He's like, Adora, are you really gonna leave? I'm like, yeah. It's like, your brothers are upstairs. I'm like, I know. You see, one thing about me, I have the gift of walking away. I will walk away. And at this time, I wanted to just dead everything. But then while I was in the Uber, he sent me a text message. He's like, Adora, are you really gonna leave? Difference between me and you is that I really value family. Your brothers are upstairs. What if they wake up and they don't see you here? And what are they gonna think? And I remembered my brothers are upstairs, and I truly don't want my brothers asking any weird questions. And they now have this idea of him, and we're saving money together, right? I come back, I'm like, you know what, I'm coming back. He's like, no, don't worry about it. I'm like, I'm coming back. By the way, at this time, yeah, some of my stuff are going into his house because, like I said to you, my hip was hurting. So the idea was, after my birthday, we were going to come back to my spot, take more of my stuff that I needed and stay with him, because I was becoming very immobile. Like, I couldn't walk. Like, I was on so much medications, and he was assisting me during this time. I never asked this man to step up. One thing I've never done is asked. But now we asked. But I've never asked for nothing. I've never asked for favor. I've never asked for nothing. So he was the one who said, no, I'm going to step up and assist you. But the thing is, I can't keep coming to your space. If you know anything in Sydney, there's traffic. So coming from his spot to Top Ride where I lived would have takes 30 minutes daily. I've never moved in with somebody, but he convinced me. And I'm not going to lie to you, I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to. My spirit was like, Then I was like, who is going to help me? I can't move. I constantly have to be in medication. I can't move. I was under the impression that I was scared of somebody helping me. But the truth is, it was just a red flag, because he kept trying to push me to be dependent on him. First, it was my business. Now it's my living situation. And when I came back, he had already taken some of my stuff and started to bring it back down. I said, why are you bringing it back down? Because you left. Since you don't want to do this with me, you can go. I will explain to your brothers later. Anyway, and then he said something like this, you know what, I care about you so much, but it's so hard because I feel like because you've never had support. I didn't know like manipulation like this. So he's there telling me, using a truth to make an excuse for his actions. By this time, I had already signed my intention to leave. I gave them the reason. We go upstairs, we make up, everything's all good and dandy. My brothers wake up. The one just below me messaged him and said, thank you for so much for the way you treat my sister. Jean sent me that message while I was at work, saying to me, oh, look at your brother sent this to me. To what? Reconfirm that he's a good man. and that I should trust him more with everything. Now, this man did not know that me living in his home was his own undoing. I'm around him more. I started to see a certain pattern. How is this man constantly playing games? But when I was living at home, you're constantly always busy. So where does the money come from to afford this beautiful space? But you've told me before that you're a marketer, that you market these kids. And then I started to notice certain things about these kids. All of these kids have talent, but coming from broken homes, a home that doesn't understand them. So they find comfort in you and they idolize you. But yet, these kids cannot see the facade. They're the one bringing you income. And all you do is provide your space and some motivational words. I'm seeing this pattern. He doesn't know that I'm seeing this. I started to see things from the bird's eye view that this man has no money maker. He doesn't have anything that makes him money. We are here to make him money. He would take them during the night to go get drugs. It wasn't just weed. And that's when my eyes started to open about who this man is. You're a facade, a fraud. I'm noticing this thing real quick. And then I'm noticing that there's a lady who lives in one of his corners. But this lady comes back at home at 12 a.m. in the night. And she gives you money, cash. And I'm like, what kind of massage business is this? Something is off. You're not really matching the illusion you gave me when I was living at my home, because I don't get where you get your money from. But every time it's time for us to buy groceries or something like that, now I'm noticing that you want me to add into buying groceries. And then on top of that, you buy your clothes from the Sunday market. So the facade of you being this well-off man is coming off, but you don't even know it's coming off because you think I'm so in love with you. I want to let you know, females, please know your standard, yeah? That even when you say you love somebody, once that standard starts to look like a lie, the love has to go. Because who do you love? Then for my birthday, he felt bad that one of my friends came early. She's Asian, love her. Obviously, she didn't know about African time, so she came early. People started coming 3 hours later, she just left. Again, it was about perception. He was like, I don't want her to think that we did not care about the fact that she came for your birthday. Let's take her to dinner on me. He also told me that he does Bitcoin, he does trading and all of that. And I said to him that she would love somebody to assist her with trading and all of that because she's got money like that. So I was trying to help this man pocket because I keep seeing you sitting down. So you can use your trading skills and assist other people, because you told me you used to do it before, but you stopped because you wanted to focus on me. But now that my hip is hurting, you can go make money. So we go to this dinner now and we are talking and she's telling her, oh, I do this, I do that. And then she's like, oh, that's amazing. Then you can help me with my portfolio, whatever. This man's like, not really right now. I'm just focusing on Dora. She's like, oh, no. It's not have to be anything so crazy. If I can give you 20K and you flip that into 20K, I will give you 30% of that. And that's a lot of money. And I was like, babe, take that opportunity. Like, nah, I just want to focus on Adora. Now it's time for us to pay for the bill. He's like, she wanted to pay for her bill. And then he's like, no. We said we were going to bring you here. He didn't tell me before that I was going to be the one to pay. What's your problem? I could have just cooked for her in the house. Whilst we were going to that space, he was like, oh, by the way, I didn't make enough money or enough profit. Can you please cover for this? I'm like, okay. I was like, that's fine. Not knowing that where we were going was some 5-star restaurant thing, that the small thing like this cost $100. Who asked him? Nobody. He just wanted to look good in front of this girl. I paid for the dinner. She looks at me and she just like, And then he quickly just gave her an excuse. It's like, oh, we have a joint account together. Like, we're saving together. So she's just going to use that to pay for the bill. So you don't have to worry about nothing. That this is on us. And in my brain, I was like, this is my money. This was a whopping $500, $600, $700 meal. For one person, me. This is when the mask started to come off. He had this schedule with me that every Sunday that I would cook, even when my hip was hurting. And then the whole house like as if I was his wife or something. He was going to help me with that. He never helped me one time with that. So I said to him, no problem, but this week here, I said to you, I'm going to my friend's birthday. So while I was getting ready, he came up to me trying to make me feel bad. He was like, I wish you could put the same effort that you put for your friends with us, with what we are building. You know, today is a cooking day and a cleaning day, but you prefer to go to your friend's spot. I said to him, I have literally cooked enough. I'm gonna cook the rest when I come back. Anyways, I go to my friend thing, I come back and he's so upset with me. And so I started to cook. So I started to cook now. He starts to rumble about, oh, you don't listen to me. You don't really care like that. Look at the whole space, it's so messy. Like, but you've been home the whole day. Why didn't you clean up? I've been the one doing things and cooking and cleaning at the same time while my hip is hurting me. Was this the support that you said you were going to give me when you convinced me to leave my den apartment to stay with you so you could support me? Now I started to see why this man needed me in his life. I brought a lot of resources, even just as a person. Fortunately, my hip was hurting. So moving forward, this guy starts to get angry. He has like an outburst. He comes up like, you know what? F this. I don't care anymore about this. Get out of my house. He starts to pack my shit. Get out of my house. Then this man threw the spaghetti that I was cooking, threw it in the bin. I'm like, wait, what's going on? I'm in shock because I've never seen this with him. Afterwards, he came to me like, I'm sorry. I just got angry at that time. It's just like, I'm just trying to be a good man. I'm trying to be a man to you. I'm just trying to be a man to you. When I'm taking things that are not right. And I'm taking things that are not right. I want to have conversations about it. He doesn't want to have conversation. The next day, the same thing happens. I'm filming or whatever. And then he's like, I thought we were going to do this other video. And I said to him that, oh, I'm going to do that another day. It's like, but we said we're going to do this video today. Why don't you ever listen to me? Get out of my home. I'm so sorry. And then I go downstairs and I say in the comment area so that he can calm down. My friend calls me, yeah? We're talking and I said to my friend, it was a guy friend, I said, this is what's going on in this house, man. What kind of rubbish is this? I literally said to him that this guy doesn't know that I've got my eyes on what he's doing. It's just because my leg's broken. And this man decides that he was going to take my stuff back in and say he's sorry. And the same thing again. Oh, I'm not used to relationships. This is really hard. You should be doing work. He wanted me to bring money in. So what then happened later on was crazy to me. I think it was a night where I had cooked, had cleaned, my leg was hurting me. And I said to him, can you get me wine? Prior to that, he had gave me something like a drug or something, but it was like a low dose of a drug that would just calm me down because I would be doing too much. Anyway, it was helping me with something else. But this is why you don't date people that do drugs. They will slowly try to normalize you consuming certain things, saying that it's going to help you with this, it's going to help you with that. And yes, it did help with certain things and calming my nerve down and making me sleep. This time, this man spiked my drink without me even knowing what he put in it. Until this day, this thing happened. Let's talk about it. I went upstairs and he came upstairs to check up on me. I was giving him the energy that that drug was meant to give, which was calm and open. This man kept telling me, I feel like you don't trust me. But I remember this man telling me these things, and while he's telling me, he keeps talking about finances. Part of the drug is to, I guess, make you honest. And I said to him, I feel like you're hiding something from me. I feel like I don't know who you are, I said to him. He's like, what do you mean? I've opened up my whole home for you. I said, there's something about you. Then the episode happened later. I don't know what was in what he gave me. It was so violent and scared. I was seeing things so hot. Where he lived, and it was a long window. You could open it. You could fall out to the streets. And I kept saying to him, call the ambulance. I'm screaming my head off. I feel terrified. My mind is warped. Like, it was so crazy. I was having a trip and he was calming me down. He's like, calm down, it's me. And I'm scratching him. I'm like, no. And then 1 minute I go into consciousness and I'm like, I'm sorry. And then I go back into the same rage. And I'm like, I need air. I started to pull my fingernails so I could stop myself from scratching him. This was new sets of nails that I just done for a video. Nails were bleeding. After a couple of minutes of trying to settle me, and I was not settling because the drug was having an adverse reaction. He left me by myself and closed the door, knowing that he's been trying to stop me from falling because I needed air so bad. But he couldn't take me out to get air because he knew that that was going to bring attention to him. He just did to me, just so that he could know more about my finances, because why I was keeping shut of my finances. The Lord that I serve was not even conscious about my relationship that I needed to build with God. Protected me, calmed me down. I started to regain my consciousness quickly. But when I was regaining it, it wasn't still coherent. I stopped screaming, he let me out. And I said to him, why did you do this to me? I was so disappointed. I was hurt. Because how I got into this house was because he told me he was going to protect me and provide assistance in a time where I couldn't walk. So why would you do that to me? I trusted you, I said to him. I was almost like a child. I was like, I trusted you. After this situation, I was so afraid to talk to this guy because he would just fly off the handle. So I wrote him a letter. I was like, basically said to him, you spiked my drink. And he denied it. He's like, what do you mean? I didn't spike your drink. I gave you the same thing I gave you before. I'm like, no, you gave me something that almost killed me and you left me in the room. God is good. This is things to let you know that God has always protected me. When all fails, when you don't have guidance from your earthly father or from like the men around you, unfortunately, a lot of men are not conscious about their value as leaders in the community, in the space, in the culture. I could sit here and say I hate men, but I don't have it in me. And that's another thing that lets me know that God exists, because for me to go through all of these things, I could have internalized it and hardened my heart. God's like, that's not you. I'm teaching you through life, but you gotta come to me though. Something happened later on. He left one day. I went downstairs to just take a walk or whatever. I usually take in the mail or whatever. He told me, open that mail. I was like, but that's his mail. I opened it. Never opened his mail. I open it and I see the reason why this man needs me here. What was on there was he was in default for a personal loan with Commonwealth of over 20,000. So I go upstairs. Something in my mind says search, to see letters of women writing to him saying, you're hurting me, I love you. Because what will happen, I think, is he will stop communicating with them, he will block them, so they will send him letters. And this is where I started to play the chess game. This whole thing, by the way, happened 2 weeks into staying with him. A week and a half into living with him, there was something that happened that was very interesting. I go to the doctors because he's been going with me to the doctors because I was literally in crutches. While I'm going inside, he sends me a message. He's like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this relationship. I can't keep being there for you and nothing's coming in. This is not what I thought would happen. So this man abandons me at a time when I needed support. Then, of course, the whole 20,000 debt, I see it. So now I know this is why this man needed me and this is why he's frustrated. So once I know this, then I felt uncomfortable being in the space. So the time where I decided to go to work this time, when I got a little bit of relief, this is when I was trying to devise my plan to escape. Because for a man to be able to do certain things like this is dangerous, you need to be careful and play the game. You cannot come in with emotion. 3 weeks into me being in his home, I knew what was going on. What I used to do at like 7-8 p.m. at night, I would take a walk every day, even though my hip was hurting me. And he knew that's weird. Why is she taking a walk? She doesn't leave the home. And her hip is hurting. And I just need fresh air. I'll go to my friend's house. A friend house that he made me pay $700. That friend, and I told her the truth. I'm like, yep, this man, he's a fraud. And I told her what I saw. She's like, damn, that makes so much sense. I'm like, that night, I didn't even know I was going to pay for you, girl. She's like, what are you going to do? I said, I got to make a plan to leave because something dark is here. Because this is not normal. How is it that I didn't even like you like that? I wasn't even checking for you like the other girls were. Keep in mind, his cousin, who I knew this about him, but never said anything to me. In fact, he endorsed us getting to him. He actually told me one day on the phone, he's like, oh, my cousin has been through so much. Please take care of him. Knowingly that his cousin is a swindler. Do you know how I know that? During one of my trips of going outside at like 8 p.m. pace, During one of this trip, I'll call my friend. My other friend that told me in the beginning to stay with him, my guy friend, to stay with him because, that's just men ego. I'm that friend. And I'll tell him what's going on. My friend then came back to me later on in that same week and said, Adora, I was having a conversation with one of my friends, just generally just having a conversation. And randomly, she told me how one of her cousin almost got swindled. And while we were talking, your man's name came up. How did that happen? That made my friend go find more information about this man. Because prior to this, we did not know him. He would just tell us things and we would just believe it because of the way he carried himself. He had the kids to prove his generosity. He had the home to prove his wealth. He had the look. You could not just say that it was not real because he had these tangible things. How did that conversation happen? Only God. That friend of his happened to be the aunt of the girl that I saw in that boat party. That was her niece. So you cannot tell me that God was not working for me. I just realized just from reading the book of Esther that even when God is not being spoken about, even when we don't have a relationship with God, He will still do what He needs to do. All this coincidence is not just coincidence. In the community in Bankstown, people thought he was gay. And I could confirm that. The Lord is telling me to say something and I don't really want to say it, but I must say it. During this time, I became very perverted because of him. He was introducing me to a different side of sex, but he never wanted me to come too close to him. Have this invincible line about him, but yet will give me sense of it a little bit. So he got me into sex toys. During this time when I figured out what was going on, I played a transgender porn in front of him because I wanted to know. Since my friend told me this, let me see what's up. At this time, we're not even having sex, but because I'm pretending like I want us to be cooler again. I'm like, I'm so sorry that I've not been behaving. I just said some nonsense to stroke his ego because it's wrong for me to do that. But I needed to know who this man is. Why this man's getting hard. Tell me why this man's then telling me that, since you're interested in things like that, I can invite somebody in our bedroom. Whatever happens. Basically, it's telling me that if he has sex with the transgender, it doesn't mean anything. And I said to him, why would you bring a third person in our bedroom and have sex with them and be okay with that? It's like I was just saying, since you were interested in it, since you opened it, since you get turned on. At this time, I checked the money in our joint account. Gone. I had given him 3,000 in the beginning for something that was meant to be for what we were going to do, like a spot that we were going to inhabit for one of our businesses or something like that, our business venture. And he had to put a down payment that he was going to add his own on top of it. So I knew that was gone. I was trying to get him to give it back to. I even told my mom to send me a message to pretend like she needed the 3,000 because my mom was also in on the plan. And he would say, I can't give you the money because it's on hold. And then he sent me screenshots. He's like, I'm going to do what I can do, but just so you know, I don't love you anymore. I said to him, okay. I put my resignation letter in. I said to the people that I work for, I'm like, I need to leave. Now, I don't like Melbourne. I never liked Melbourne before, but I kept getting this feeling move because now I don't even have my previous lease to go back to. I don't want to stay here anymore. I will not be subjected to disrespect. This man did not know that I was already on my way back home because I already devised a plan. And he was surprised that I was there early. I went to one of his rooms and I said to him, can I talk to you? I'm like, I'm about to pack. He's like, that's good because this is not working anymore. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I dared look at this man in broad daylight and I told him, you are not who you claim to be. He said, what do you mean? I'm like, you're broke. He's like, I own so much stuff. What do you mean I'm broke? I'm like, you're in debt. A lot of debt. He's like, no, in no debt. What are you talking about? Just pack and leave. This is not working anymore. I'm like, I couldn't care less if this is not working anymore. He's like, name one debt I'm in, since you know it all, Adora. I said, Commonwealth debt. It's like, you owing Commonwealth 22,000 in debt. He's like, that's a business loan. I'm like, no, it says personal. He's like, what? And then this man has to panic. Leave my house. Leave my home. And then they're sitting like this. I'm like, it's over now. Bye. So I go upstairs, I'm packing. It's taking a while to pack because again, my hip is hurting me. Everybody around me is in on this plan. But this man don't know. My friend that was okay with us being together, I was going to his house. I had my removalist downstairs already. He didn't even know that. And I had my ticket booked to leave to Melbourne in the next week. And I said to him, oh yeah, and by the way, I resigned and I'm also moving to Melbourne. He's like, what? I told you to resign before so you can focus on your hair business and Instagram, and you didn't do that. Now you do. He was so shocked because the whole time I was still cooking, cleaning, mopping, pretend. He came back later on to think he can manipulate me further. He said to me, I'm so sorry that I did not let you in and tell you the truth about what's going on with me. Just like you've been honest with me. I've not been around family for years. This man did not know about the other things that I knew. Even when I confronted you, I still kept some information. Playing the chess game. And for your cousin, D, I'm going to conceal your name because I have no problems with you. You did something that was extremely dangerous. And what I do not understand is why you, as somebody that I considered a known face or somebody that I knew for many years, will put me in such a situation. But a girl that is your friend, that same girl that was with him the day I met him the first time, he told her to run away from him. But with me, you put me in the lion's den purposely. And this is what I'm talking about when I say that there's no protection from men in the community towards women. And I forgive you. And when I met you years later in Melbourne, you said, Adora, you look good. I said, thank you. And you said to me, Adora, we need to talk. And I basically let you know we don't have nothing to talk about. Well, I didn't say it. In my head, I thought about it, but I just said, But let me tell you how God works. The moment I knew what was going on, I started to feel less pain in my leg. I can't explain it to you. 3 weeks ago, I could not move. Now, I'm able to move. I went to my friend's spot. I stayed there for a week. And thank you guys for being amazing. And I said to my cousin, message him this for me. I said in the message, it's funny how I wasn't checking for you. Better give me back my $3,000 back. Don't worry about the other money, because now I know that my whole birthday that you claimed to have done for me, you did it using my own money to impress my friends. I said to him, you are going to keep stealing from people and you're going to be stuck in that situation. I'm going to go and I'm going to get that money back. What happened was more than what I thought would happen. Moved to Melbourne, no job, no perspective of a possible job. It's the pandemic where people are losing their job. The moment I move, I'm applying for jobs, and I kid you not, I get a phone call one day from the departments in the government sector, and they're interviewing me on the phone. After that call, I went to go look for my application on my Indeed, on my Seek, on my email. I could not find this application. I went to the induction, guys. This is where you know God is amazing. They're telling us about what the job is going to entail. Guys, when they told me the benefits, the salary, I was blown away. This is how you know I did not apply for that job. Because how did I not know the salary? Because that's the first thing you look at when you're applying for a job, right? You look at the salary range. I don't remember the salary range. I don't have any formal experience with this. That money they were going to pay me for every 2 weeks was more than what this man was owing me. Do good by people. Be pure, because God will always provide for you. After reading the book of Esther, that's when I realized that situation was all God. Somebody stole from me. Chicken change to God. This is the caveat on top that let me know that this is God. Tell me why 2 weeks after I started working here, I get a call and an email telling me I can't work anymore. I said to them, have I lost my job? What did I do? They're like, no. There was an outbreak. There's been outbreak in multiple facilities. Not normally, it takes 2 weeks and people come back to work, or you get appointed to another facility. They tell me, don't worry about anything. You're still going to be getting the same standard payment. Even not working, I was getting more every fortnight. During the pandemic, guys. Nothing short of God. God wanted me to relax. I started working in that spot on the 5th of January. From the 23rd of January to June of that year, I was employed, but not going to work and earning. So I signed myself into a gym. And that's when I fell in love with the gym. The only thing that has helped my hip, no physiotherapy has helped my hip. No medicine was able to help my hip for such a long time. It was the gym that helped me be mobile. Now I have this apartment. Now I have a healthy lifestyle. But all of that started from something that was meant to destroy me. But yeah, that's one of my testimonies as to how my neglect became what God used to teach me about Him, about life, and about people. I came to Melbourne thinking I was coming here to do hair and makeup. Nah, that's not it. I will probably do that one day, go back to it. Because I want Black women to be overall. You can be beautiful and still be wise. You get me? But that lifestyle has to have God in the center of it. Everything is working for your own good. If you don't take anything out of this, is God loves you. I just want to let you know that anything that you're going through, He's there. Look carefully. That is it for me and today's video. Please do not forget to like, comment, subscribe. Also, do not forget to find different ways to love and adore yourself. So we've come to the end of the video, and I forgot to add this. The lady who kept coming to him at 12 a.m, that his supposed manager for his massage business, she was actually the manager to his hostel for prostitutes. Yeah, I figured that out later on. And just recently, this man decided he was going to follow me, and he was very stalky, liking all my stories to let me know that he's looking at me. Well then, I guess you've seen the progress that the Lord has done times 5 when you met me. Now I allow my ego to allow you watch for a couple of weeks, but I had to delete and block you because your spirit is unclean, and I pray for you. In saying that, I don't fear nothing because I am with the Holy Spirit, and that's on that. And I just want to say to other people is, look, we spend so many time praying to God, but we don't spend enough time giving Him glory and thanking Him, because He really does a lot even when we don't see it. And this year was one of those stories where I didn't see it, but now I'm giving glory, so I'm giving thanks. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, find different ways to love and adore yourself. Bye.